Hello, hello. My name is Shannon Morse, and welcome to the Elevated Frequency Podcast. Today, we're diving into resiliency in the face of cancer. So, I've been wanting to have this conversation with my very dear friend, Rachel Samet, for some time as she was inside of the Green Door Life programming. She was doing the training. Her and I had worked together with nutrition, and then this life changing event happened. And I got to connect with her throughout these different changes that she was having and essentially have a sideline view of this miraculous transformation that she had while she was going through cancer. And so we get to talk about that today. And hi, Rachel. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
So, Rach, you and I have known each other for how long?
Since we were 12. I'm 43. You do the math.
That's right. Rach and I have known each other for a long time. Rach has done my hair. She did my hair through COVID, came over to the house. Like we have, we have a flow of history. So as you went through this experience, it was wild to be a friend of yours who's known you for so long and to actually hear the discoveries that you were having. So one of the key topics that we're going to talk about today is the awareness of both how stress can be something that essentially can be like a true cause of cancer. And on the other side, how our relationship to our bodies can transform on the other side of having a diagnosis like this. So, we're going to discuss a little bit about your experience with navigating chemo and surgeries and just how all of this stuff was for you.
I would preface it with this is my experience. Everyone has a very different experience. So I'm literally just coming from my own point of view. It's not a reflection of anyone else's point of view of cancer because every woman that I talk to has a very unique, different experience. So this is just my point of view on the whole thing.
Yes, and it's beautiful. And one of the things that I loved about your point of view is that it gives people a new possibility of what could be the experience for them. And we go throughout these moments and we think that a diagnosis or a death in the family or whatever it might be is supposed to be the end of something for us. And it's supposed to be this thing that is perhaps something that we can't recover from, whatever the tragedy is in our life or the supposed tragedy. But what I really loved about watching your experience is that although there was a lot of places where this is fucked up and this is hard, there was also a lot of places that were incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, for me, cancer ended up almost being a rebirth. Like when it was happening, I definitely would never have known that or thought that. In retrospect, which usually is the case with most things, I now look at my life as before cancer and after cancer, or since cancer, and I look at my diagnosis date as a different kind of birthday.
Yeah.
It's the day my life changed.
Can you share a little bit about who you felt like you were? Like, who was the Rachel before cancer?
Okay. Before cancer, I was a wife. I'm a mom. I am a hairdresser. I'm a fierce, loving friend. I also had a lot of stuff going on that I was very checked out from and very unaware of. COVID really was the beginning. I mean, COVID changed everything for so many people. It was definitely the beginning of life just got weird. And from COVID for the next 4 years, it got extra crazy for me. I feel like my whole industry shut down and then we went back and then I had finally gotten myself financially back on my feet. It had been like a year. I had trained with you when you still trained in person in San Francisco years ago and then it stopped. And then in 2021, I was 39 years old and I was like, next year I'm going to be 40. I want to embrace 40. I don't want to wait until 40. I am going to really do everything that I can. So I joined GDL and I gave it like 80%, I would say, not definitely maybe 75. But I dialed in my nutrition. I learned so much. My strength training got really strong and I was ready to turn 40. I was going to embrace it. I was super pumped about it. I was very ready to turn 40. I felt like I was in better shape and in better health than I had ever been. And then 2 weeks before my 40th birthday, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And my whole world like imploded. Like it was a day unlike any other day. It's literally the whole, your life can change with a phone call or your life can change in an instant. And it did. It 100% did. I will say, I do feel like going into cancer, I was stronger and healthier than I'd ever been. And I'm sure that played a role in how I managed to go through chemo and surgeries and all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't think anything really prepares you for that, but it definitely was helpful for sure. Like I had some skills in that department that I wouldn't have had before.
Absolutely. I hadn't thought about that yet. And with some of the recent studies that I've been doing this year about preparing and recovering from just surgery of any kind, having a
Mm-hmm.
really strong nutritional balance so that your body can fuel and recover with whatever it's going through is like 80% of the work that your body's going to need to do. So it's kind of divinely timed, actually, if we think about
It was. Yeah. Like it was a gift
it. Yeah.
that I gave myself not knowing. It was very counterintuitive. Like I felt great.
Yeah.
And then I found this out and it was counterintuitive to think I was going to have to go do all of these things that were going to make me feel terrible in order to stay feeling well.
Yeah.
So going into it, I mean, every chemo appointment, I would look at my husband and be like, can you believe this is our real life? I'm like a cancer patient. Like it blew my mind every week for 5 months of chemo. I cannot believe this is real life. I don't have anything else to compare it to. It's like the definitive moment that changed my life is getting that diagnosis.
You've been vocal about your experience for awareness on social media. I remember that you also shared some things with me about going into the hospital for the first time and like the music that you chose to play and that you had never actually had any sort of surgery.
Yeah, so before this diagnosis, I have never had stitches. I had never had an IV. I have literally never had anything wrong with me. I did all the genetic testing after getting diagnosed. I have no genetic mutations, so no BRCA, or there's like over 50 genetic markers that they test you for now. I had none of those. I have no family of history. I have a huge family of women. My mom is the oldest of 9. 7 of them are women. So I was the pioneer. I was the first, but every experience at the hospital and through this whole thing was brand new to me. I'd never been in an operating room. I remember the woman giving me an IV because I had to do a breast MRI, and I just looked down at my IV and I was like, "Oh, I've never had an IV." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's like what sick people get." And she was just like, "Oh, honey, just like you have no idea what is about to happen to you." Like everything was mind blowing. And yeah, I mean, I had some amazing experiences along the way. Like I said, I had a port surgery. They put a port in my body. I made them play Snoop Dogg over the intercom because I was like, "Yo, let's do this." I tried to keep a good sense of humor about it because it was really tragic. It was all the things. I cried and I laughed and I tried to make the best of it because I didn't have any other choice.
Totally. I mean, your outlook and your personality, I think, is probably one of the better ones that I've seen with individuals going through whatever it is that they're going through. But especially something like that. And I just remember you telling me about the Snoop Dogg thing, and I was like, I fucking love Rachel.
I mean, she turned to me and was like, "Honey, do you want to listen to music?" And I looked at her. I was high as a kite, but I was like, "What are my options?" And she was like, "Whatever you want." And I looked at her and I "How about motherfucking Snoop Dogg?" And she was like, "Yes." And they blared it over the intercom. And I remember laying there thinking, this is so inappropriate. And I wish someone I knew was here to witness what was happening because this is hilarious. Like, I had a lot of amazing things happen over the course of the whole cancer thing.
Oh man. And I remember also that you started to get into almost like your own art therapy.
Oh yeah, I started painting again, which I hadn't done since I was like a late teenager, early 20s. I just needed an outlet. I'd go upstairs and turn on Ani DeFranco and Fiona Apple and just cry and paint. And I cried a lot. I screamed into pillows. I laughed. I felt all the things. I do remember I had a lot of people ask me if I was going to go to therapy. And at the time, I was like, no, I'll go to therapy when I'm done with this. Like in the moment, I was in survival mode. I don't need anyone to validate how I'm feeling. I'm allowed to feel however I want. I have cancer. And then I did start therapy as soon as I was done because when you finish, all of a sudden it starts to set in like, whoa, this was crazy. This is definitely the most insane thing that's ever happened to me. And I don't think I started processing it and really until last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm glad that I did go to therapy about it. I'm still working on it. I have some medical PTSD. I've never had that before. I've never been scared to go to the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. My body has felt untrustworthy to me since this, which is something I'm trying to navigate now.
Yeah. I mean, all of that stuff makes sense. And it's not something that it's not even things that you will initially even consider, especially in the beginning or the onset of any journey like this. And I know that that kind of mistrust or distrust in the body is something that many people experience, whether they've been diagnosed with something or not. It's just like a very deep inherent mistrust. Like, can this body carry me?
I feel very fortunate that I didn't feel that until then. And I almost feel like my innocence was stolen, but
Mhm.
really it's just the reality of life. Like, we're all have that God complex when you're young, like nothing's going to happen to me. I'm great. And
Mm.
then like no one gets away scot free. Everybody goes through something. I always say I had a really good run till 40.
I mean, yes, you did. I want to just acknowledge just the fact that you were giving yourself the time to feel whatever you were feeling. Because I think a lot of,
I'm still doing it.
yeah, which is amazing. And it's amazing in the sense that a lot of the work that we get to do with individuals with the green door, although on the surface it looks like you're just strength training and doing nutrition, it's also understanding why people get stuck in the repetitive behavior patterns. And likely we get stuck in repetitive behavior patterns because we're not willing to feel what's actually underneath that's causing us to do the same thing over and over again as a deeper protective mechanism.
Which is definitely where I was before all of this. I was very checked out. I had a lot of other things going on in my personal life that I was very checked out from, and just going through kind of the motions of life,
Mm-hmm.
not really feeling anything or feeling what I should be feeling. I didn't even realize that that's what I was doing,
Mm, yeah.
which has been very eye opening over the last like 2 years of therapy.
Yes.
I didn't even realize that that's how I was feeling, or I wasn't feeling,
Yes.
until I started feeling. And then I literally thought I was having a manic episode. And my therapist was like, no, this is called being happy. And I was like, really? She's like, you've been really shut down for a really long time. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, remember this feeling and don't let anyone take it from you. And I was like, no, they can't have it. And
Mm.
it's been, it's been amazing. I can now say in retrospect, I'm grateful I got cancer.
Mhm.
It made me make the changes in my life that I needed to make, that I am incredibly stubborn to a fault. I've joined Al Anon and I'm learning that my positive attributes also might be my character defects as well. And being stubborn and loyal to a fault is not always a good thing or a healthy thing, and all things that I'm working on now. But I am definitely, cancer changed my life. I'm grateful I got cancer. I wouldn't have made the changes that I needed to make,
Mm.
and I would be pretty miserable still.
As you're sharing about this, there's just so many thoughts that come into mind because there, especially for women, there are so many women who don't know that they're stressed because, like,
Yeah.
and this is something,
We carry so much stress. We run households, we have jobs, we take care of children, we take care of partners, we take care of family. We are caretakers. And I'm now learning the difference between being a caretaker and being codependent.
yes,
And sometimes it's a really fine line.
yes,
And we carry a lot of stress.
yes,
And now living a much less stressful life, I'm amazed that I didn't get sick sooner.
mm,
I was so stressed out and so unaware of how stressed I was out because it had become my norm,
mm-hmm,
that it just, yeah, it's, I mean, I definitely think like, I don't know if stress causes cancer. I definitely think it can be a factor.
mm-hmm,
I just know that I was living at an 8 rather than 3, 4
yeah,
all the time. And I was unaware because that had become my normal.
yes. It's like the adage of the frog being boiled in warm water over time. Yeah.
It just slowly grows and you slowly get accustomed to it until that seems fine.
Mm-hmm. That's all you know.
And it's just all you know. And it's all I knew for a really long time.
I really appreciate that we're talking about this. Lisa and I talk about this a lot, that stress is not a feeling, it's a physiological state. I can actually say that with a certainty because we understand how cortisol and blood sugar and hormones correlate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you who are listening, when we are in a heightened stress state, even if we don't logically identify it as stress, our cortisol levels are high, which then causes insulin resistance, which then causes hormonal imbalances, which then has a cascade of effects around how we actually can't support our organs, our brain, and our muscles. So the way that it trickles down is actually real.
Oh
And
yeah, it's real.
so when we are supporting individuals, and if you're at home kind of like thinking about this, you don't want to listen to this and be like, oh, I'm going to stress out that I may not know if I'm stressed out. But at the same time, if you do feel like it's really hard for you to stop, this is one of my signs at least. When I feel like I'm running in place, and if I feel like I am experiencing what I would consider anxiety, which is how it shows up with me with codependency, also, by the way, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
fellow high functioning codependent person. When it shows up for me, I will speed up and I will actually do more instead of doing less.
Mm-hmm. I am the same way. Yeah. For me, I think I learned in therapy, my therapist in the beginning made me really focus on when I'm feeling anxious, where do I feel it? So now I'm very focused on, I feel it in my sternum.
Mm.
So I will feel it start to rise in my sternum. So that's my cue, like, oh, you're getting anxious, you're feeling extra stressed. And I'm aware of that now.
Mm.
That's been a big one for me. And I think one of the really interesting things I learned really during chemo is we just wake up and expect to feel the way we felt yesterday, unless we have a cold or something coming. But it's kind of, we take it for granted. And during chemo, every day I would have to wake up and check in. Everyone would be like, how are you doing today? And I'd be like, how is Rachel doing today? Let me check in with my body. How am I feeling? And I'd have to like do a check on how am I feeling mentally? How am I feeling physically? And I felt like it was a good practice
Yes.
to really check in every day and be like, how am I doing today? What do I need? I really put myself first for the first time in my entire adult life. And I didn't have a choice. It's not something I wanted to do, but it was a forced make yourself number one.
Yeah.
And I'm not as good about it now, but I do try to check in with myself. How am I feeling today? What do I need today? Like, what do I need to feel okay, to feel good, to feel healthy? And it's been a good practice. And I mean, cancer taught me that too.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful practice. We have a little sequence that we do before we run our group calls, which is checking in with sounds, sensations, thoughts, and feelings.
Mm.
And just that you're talking about helps us to address, or actually to drop into our parasympathetic nervous system. So just the act of you checking in actually helps to calm our system down, which is really
Yeah.
cool. So I love that practice. And it's such a beautiful thing to do every morning.
Yeah, it's definitely been like I have a whole routine of things I do in the morning. I wake up, I go pee, I make coffee, then I sit down and I do a gratitude list. I read from one of my Al Anon readings. I have a whole list of things that I do to really set the tone for my day now. I mean, it doesn't mean that things don't get difficult and your day can get derailed, but it does really set the tone for your day. And then all day long, I look for things that I can add to my gratitude list for the next day. That's been a good change and adjustment for me. I've never done anything like that before. I probably would have made fun of me, but now I just do what I want to do and don't care what anyone else thinks anymore.
Which I absolutely love. I absolutely love. And it's so cool to watch this shift. When you look at the past Rachel, I'm going to call her Rachel 1.0 and Rachel 2.0, what do you think are the biggest differences with how you interact with life?
Ooh, how I interact with life. I am very aware that tomorrow's not guaranteed. I do try to really, I don't want to say live it up, but really enjoy every day as it comes. I know that a phone call can change your life. I also am overly aware now that I don't know what everyone else is going through. Like the number of times I'd be driving on the freeway and I'd be like, they don't know that the person next to them has cancer right now. Like you never know what anyone else is going through. So I try to have more empathy for people than I did before. Like I try to pause. That's been a big one for me. I pause. I don't pop off right away. Like I'm definitely snarky, and that's part of me is still there and it won't go away. I actually love that part of me, but I do try to pause and remember that everybody is going through their own thing. Everybody has hardships, whether it be what some would call trivial or not, it's still their thing. So I try to be more empathetic to that, which is new for me.
It's a fun thing for me to think about, because when I think about having a rebirth, because I've gone through
Mm-hmm.
various rebirths in my life for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
when I'm in like a rebirth cycle, which is what I would call it, I kind of bump into things in life and I go, what does this feel like? So I try new things as if I'm a completely like new little chick and going like, what does this feel like? Do I like this? Do I not like this? And then I start to realize that the way that I'm interacting with life feels either, let's say, for example, more curious, more expansive,
Mm-hmm.
open-minded. There's like a difference between more trusting, less trusting sometimes.
I'm both.
Hmm.
I'm more trusting and less trusting. I forgot who I was for a long time. I've had a lot of other things happen since cancer. I left a 20-year relationship. I am single for the first time in my adult life. I was with my partner since I was 20 years old, so basically half of my life. And I forgot who I was. I got really small, and a lot of that's my own fault. But I think in all the changes that I've made, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I like this, or oh, I like this. And I always say, actually, I say yes a lot now. I used to say no a lot, and now I say yes to a lot of new opportunities, things that make me scared, things that I wouldn't normally do. I almost immediately I'm like, yes, I'm a yes person now. I'm not a no person anymore. And that has been really, I've blossomed.
Mm.
I'm much happier that way. I'm more open. And then I think the biggest thing out of all of it is I trust my spideys. I call them my spidey senses. I trust my gut. I trust my gut more than I ever have. I ignored it for a really long time, and now I lean into it hard. It never steers me wrong. And I don't know what that is, but for me, that's my like check in with yourself. How does that feel to you? I don't do anything I don't want to do anymore. A friend taught me that I really hold on to as somebody who's codependent and wants to fix things for everybody. Do I have the capacity for this right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big question to ask myself a lot of the times. Do I need to help this person? Do I need to help myself? Do I have the ability to right now?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just giving, giving, giving? Do I have the capacity? And I have literally said, hey, I don't have the capacity for this right now, or I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
I can do this later with you, but I can't do it right now. And I set boundaries. And that's been amazing. It's really hard to do. It's definitely like a muscle that you have to work, but it's changed my life as well, for sure.
Absolutely. I love, love, love that. I can relate. I know there's a lot of people who will listen to this at some point who will definitely be able to relate, of just learning to set boundaries and how not only kind of sticky it can be in the beginning, because you got to test the waters and be like,
So uncomfortable.
it's so
So
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
And then also liberating once you do it.
Both. It's absolutely. It's both. It can be. I've learned that things can be simultaneously two different feelings. They can be hard and amazing. They can be sad and happy. Two things can exist if not more than two things can exist at the same time.
Yes. That's such a beautiful realization. I still have a hard time with that unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
Logically, I'm with it.
Totally. My rational brain will tell me I know what I'm doing is right, and my unconscious brain and my heart sometimes don't agree.
Yes, absolutely. Just listening to the things that you're sharing that you've gotten through the process, it sounds like healing aspects of codependency, kind of reclaiming yourself on the other side, being a yes person. Let me see, just having obviously resiliency, but also like a humor with things that are difficult.
I only wore pink wigs. I was bald. I mean, losing your hair is hard for any woman. This hair, this hair was incredibly hard to lose. It's what I've identified with my whole life. My hair has always been really long and really big. I am the curly redheaded girl.
Yes.
Losing my hair was wild. It was a wild experience, but it was another one. It was one of those beautiful experiences. I went, my hair was falling out, and I tried to save it with cold capping, which
Hmm.
is incredibly expensive. It's not covered by insurance. It's also incredibly painful. You have to wear a negative 32-degree helmet for 8 hours the day of chemo. So you are experiencing chemo as well as an ice cream headache for the entire day. It's pretty brutal. A lot of people it works for, and for them, congratulations. It's great. It was horrible. It was one of the worst things I feel like I've ever had to do. And I called my best friend, who was also a hairdresser, and was like, I need you to shave my head. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, it's just falling out. So I went over to her house. On the way down to her house, she called me back and she was like, hey, I just want you to know I'm going to assess your hair as a hairdresser. If I think you're being irrational, I'm going to tell you. And I was like, yeah, please do. If you think I'm being irrational, please let me know.
Nice.
And so I went to her house and she was touching my hair. And just every time you touched it, it was just coming out. And she was like, she looked at me and she was like, I think we have to shave your head. And I was like, I know, that's why I'm here. And the year before, she got divorced and she stepped out of the room and she walked into the room with a huge stack of china. I'm going to cry. And she said, this is my wedding china and we're going to go smash it. And I was like, I was horrified at first. I was like, I don't want to break your dishes. And she looked at me and she was like, Rachel, I hate these dishes. I do not want these dishes. And we went to the garage and we screamed and we cried and we broke plates. And then literally laughed the entire time she shaved my head. It was a beautiful experience. It was one of the nicest things anyone's ever done for me. And then we shaved my head and I was literally like, oh, I'm still me. Like, it's not my hair. I'm still me. And I had so many more important things to worry about that I was like, oh, we can move on. And then we looked at my head and I was like, oh my God, I have a really cute head. And she was like, you do have a really cute head. There's a lot of weird head shapes out there. And I have never seen my head. I have so much hair. And I kind of rock the bald look. And then I only wore pink wigs. I refused to wear normal hair. I was like, I'm not fooling anybody. I'm going to have fun with it. So I wore hot pink hair and just made the best out of it. And it was fun. I mean, part of it was fun. I would not recommend doing it or having to do it, and I definitely would not want to do it again. But when life gives you lemons, like, you do what you got to do to like get through it. And so I just tried to make the best of like a pretty horrible situation. I was able to laugh at myself. Mm-hmm. We joked that I was a Pinky. They started calling me Pinky because I looked like a baby mouse with no hair. I was lucky. I smart enough I microbladed my eyebrows. So even when losing my hair was really hard. Losing my eyebrows and my eyelashes towards the end was even harder. Like, I officially felt like I looked like an alien. Mm-hmm. So I just remember microblading my eyebrows before I started chemo was a huge one because I at least still looked like I had eyebrows. Because eyebrows, you look real weird without eyebrows. Like, hair, yes, you look weird. Everyone knows you're sick, but no eyebrows, like, that one was rough.
Yeah. Thank you for telling that story.
Yeah.
I love your girlfriend for doing that.
Best part of her is like other good things that have come out of cancer. So all these tests I had to get done. One of them was a PET scan where they scan your whole body. And the PET scan guy, we had a great rapport and was super nice. And she is dating my PET scan guy. They're going on 2 years and they just got engaged and they literally would never have met if I didn't get cancer. So we joked that love and cancer can coexist.
Wow.
I got a lot of good stories. I had a lot of horrible things happen, but also really amazing things happen.
Yes.
Like he always says, like, I'm sad Rachel got cancer, but like, you know, we never would have met if she didn't. And he's not wrong.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a lot. I know.
No, but it's great. I mean, I have a personal belief that we choose everything that happens in our life.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so if we do choose everything that happens in our life, then how we show up and experience that is how we needed to show up and experience it.
Yeah.
And then everyone who's in our life, we also chose them to be in our life. And so everything is like this beautiful web that's intertwined. And it can
absolutely. I have so many good girlfriends, which has been huge. But I had another good girlfriend who told me when I left my relationship and honestly, leaving my relationship was harder and scarier than cancer. It's
Mm.
like all I've ever known for my adult life.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. But my son, my stepson, who I raised, I consider him my son. My girlfriend and I met for coffee after I had left, and she said, I've been thinking about you guys, and maybe your ex-husband wasn't your soulmate. Maybe your son was, and you had to meet your
Mm.
ex-husband so you could have your son."
Mm.
And I was like, I like that. I'm going to hold on to that one. And I mean, cancer and my son were the two biggest reasons that I made big life
Mm.
changes. Those are my two, I always say, my defining factors. One was cancer, and I just needed to live a healthier lifestyle, and I was with somebody that wasn't willing to change or didn't want to or couldn't. He didn't have the capacity.
Yeah.
Um, he has a disease.
Yep.
And so I try to have compassion for that. Like I hope that he gets better so that he can be a happy person and show up and be a parent to our child. That would be amazing. But it's also not my journey,
Hmm.
and I have to let that go. Yay.
Hmm.
Hiya, Al-Anon. Those are what I say when I do Al-Anon related things. And then the other thing was my son. And I just remember looking at him and thinking, if he was in this relationship, would I want him to stay?
Mm.
And if the answer is no, why is it okay for me to stay? And what kind of an example am I setting? And after that, it was kind of a no brainer.
Mm.
I couldn't lie to myself anymore, and I couldn't live like that. So I made some really scary life changes. I upended everything I've ever known and moved home at 41 to my parents' house, which was hard, emotionally really hard. But it's been a wild ride. If you would have told me that I would have been 41 and excited to live in my childhood bedroom, I would have never believed you. And it has been the most beautiful, amazing experience.
Mm.
I have the most beautiful family and friends. I'm very happy living with them. They are so supportive. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. Financially, everything kind of fell apart, and I was supporting a house I wasn't living in anymore for a really long time, and I would have foreclosed on my house. I wouldn't have been able to do the financial things that I needed to do, and they were really amazing, and they've been great. I'm now going to build a house to live there with them. So
Oh.
it's been an amazing turn of events. I'm building a little ADU in their backyard. They're getting older and they have like their own set of health problems to deal with. And it's a great way for me to have my own space, but still be able to help care for them. And I'm creating a family compound basically. And I couldn't be happier.
Damn.
I have a friend that moved in with us because I basically have a weird commune happening at my parents' house, which they seem to be into. I think we're the most interesting thing to happen to them at years. And she also got divorced and really needed a place to land. And my parents love her. I look at her all the time in the morning and I go, you know what we get to do today? And she goes, what? And I go, whatever we want. And we're both like mind blown by this all the time. Like all we've done is take care of other people. And at 41, really at 42, I put myself first for the first time in my adult life. And I don't regret any of the things that I've done. I raised a beautiful family, started a business, we bought homes, went on amazing vacations. But for the first time, I'm putting myself first. And I'm lucky I have that ability. I don't have young kids at home. I have an adult child who's very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
I know not everybody gets that. And it's part of my gratitude for sure. But I get to put myself first for the first time. Why everyone else was out in their 20s and 30s having a great time. I was raising a child, and it made me who I am. But I also didn't do or experience a lot of things. And I joke now that I'm living my 20s with the confidence of my 40s, and it's been spectacular.
Awesome. I think about that as an idea and I'm like, hell yes.
It's great. You have more confidence and you don't care about the little things. And
Mhm.
before it would be like, oh, do they like me? And now it's, do I like you? Do I want to spend my time doing this? And I did it kind of backwards,
Mhm.
but I did it forward for how I was supposed to do it. That's how I was
Absolutely.
supposed to do things. It's my journey.
What a shift. And I love that there's so many facets of your story and your experience, and it's a web, it's intertwining.
Complicated.
And as you're sharing it, I'm seeing you discover yourself and your strength on the other side of this 20-year span where you actually lost yourself and were essentially learning a different lesson in your life.
Yeah, I am stronger than I could have ever imagined. Most people are.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone I know, I was public on the internet about cancer and
Mhm.
what happened to me. And not because, it's very kind that people say, oh, you're so brave. For me, I was like, I'm not brave. This is like a PSA. This wasn't supposed to happen to me.
Mm.
This can happen to anybody. And breast cancer in particular, like it affects women of all ages. It has nothing to do with your age. You could be 23 and get diagnosed with breast cancer. It's
Mhm.
one of the only cancers that's curable, so that's amazing. For a lot of people, that's not the case.
Mhm.
A lot of people have to deal with it and have maintenance. But it was a PSA. Like, if this could happen to me, it could happen to anybody. So I just look at it as if I can spread any bit of awareness or knowledge, because I didn't have it. I thought I was invincible. And one more woman gets a mammogram, or one more woman takes a minute to do a breast check, then I have done my job.
Absolutely. When you think about just your relationship to your health and how you take care of yourself now with nutrition and training, how has
Mhm.
that changed from before and after?
Before, I took it for granted. Before, I just wanted to like look good. I had hormone positive breast cancer. So I had ER/PR positive HER2 negative breast cancer, which means my tumor was feeding off my estrogen and my progesterone, which is actually good. From what I know, there's two kinds of tumors. One that is feeding off your hormones for breast cancer, and one that is creating its own food source. If your tumor is creating its own food source, it's more difficult to treat. So it's actually good that it was feeding off my hormones so that they can control my hormones. So I did 5 months of chemotherapy. I had a full double mastectomy. I had expanders in for months, which were awful. And then I had reconstructive surgery, and I had my ovaries and my fallopian tubes removed. And now I take a hormone block. So it's so interesting because most women my age are getting on hormones. And I love that for them. I'm jealous. That must be nice. I got put into forced menopause, and they try to keep my estrogen and progesterone as low as possible. So that comes with its own set of side effects. One of the medications that I have to take for the next 7 years causes a loss of bone density. Lifting weights is number one
Mhm.
for bone density loss. Like, I walk and lift weights, which were the two things they told me to do. And frankly, thank God, because they're my two favorite things to do.
Mhm.
So lifting weights, it was always something I love to do, but now it's necessary. I don't have a choice. I have to. Also, for stress, the stress of having cancer. I couldn't work out during cancer. You guys were amazing and actually let me keep the program for the whole year that I went through cancer, which was super kind. I couldn't use it at all. I could
Mhm.
barely walk up the stairs without being winded.
Yeah.
Bone density is huge. Those are the best things I can do. And then the other thing was, I went through a divorce. I upended my whole life. My stress levels were through the roof.
Mhm.
So I feel like the whole year I got divorced, all I did was walk really fast, work out, and hang out with my girlfriends. I lifted so much weight for my anxiety. I would feel overly anxious and be like, I gotta go. I'm going to the gym. And everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. And I needed to go throw heavy stuff around. And it was so good for my mental health that I'm at the point now where if I don't work out for 3 days in a row, I can feel a mental health shift more than anything. Like, bone density, cute butt, those are great. But really, like, my mental health is so affected by working out at this point that, like, it's a maintenance thing. I have to do it. And I never thought I would be that person. Like,
Once you get hooked, it's real hard to stop.
yeah, it really is. It's been transformative. It's been one of the best things I've done for myself.
Hmm. I mean, you just recently you had a birthday and we were
Mhm.
texting and you were letting me know that you were just doing your birthday workout. And I personally love birthday workouts and I was super stoked to hear that just because.
I did that this year, and then last year, actually, my cancer birthday. You and I worked out on my cancer
Yeah.
birthday. Yeah.
So good.
And I do. I love to start out. It sets the tone for my day, and definitely for the year.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good workout is a good way to get it going.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely something that I enjoy doing for sure. Is there anything else that you feel like you really want to share that we haven't touched on yet?
I had a really amazing care team. I felt really taken care of. I do feel like it is really important to trust your gut and advocate for yourself. I feel like a lot of women's health issues get dismissed. oh, it's menopause. Oh, it's nothing. You're healthy. I know a lot of women now, and just being part of a cancer recovery group, that were very young and very healthy. Some were fitness trainers, and they would feel a lump and it would just get dismissed as, you're too young. Like, we don't even need to worry about that. Let's look at it next year. And that's not the case. You really need to self-advocate. I don't think doctors don't have your best interest in mind, but they're also overworked and they have too many patients. And so really pushing for what you believe in your heart of hearts is really important. It can save your life. It can, it's not my personal experience. Like I said, my care team was amazing. I can't say enough good things about them. I have made friends with them along the way. But it definitely happens to a lot of people, and it's super sad, and it doesn't need to be that way. I feel like if we were men and it affected your erectile issues, it would be taken care of. But like, to me, the fact that you don't get a mammogram until you're 40, it seems crazy when breast cancer affects women of all ages. That is mind blowing to me. I don't know what to do to change that. I doubt that we could, but I do feel like women's health gets pushed to the side, like in a major way.
Yeah, I agree, and that just makes me very happy that Lisa and I are doing what we're doing with the Green Door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are so focused on women's health and the education of it, which is why this conversation is so great. I'm pretty sure that if anyone is listening to this that hasn't got a mammogram, they'll be getting one very quickly.
It's not that painful either. Women complain about it all the time. I only had one. Granted, mine didn't turn out so great, but that didn't have anything to do with the mammogram.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. And it's, a few moments of discomfort is a lot better than what I had to go through, or what a lot of people have to go through. And a lot of people, continue to have to go through. I do feel really lucky. Like, I take medication. It definitely has its annoying side effects. I have joint pain. I have an irritated bladder all the time. I pee all the time like I'm 90. But it is a small price to pay. A lot of women continue to deal with really harsh side effects from medication. And I feel really grateful every time I talk to one of them. And I'm like, it's okay. I have to pee a lot. It could be a lot worse. Like, it could be so much worse.
Yes. If you could go back and tell your pre-diagnosis self one thing, what do you think it would be?
That you are stronger than you could ever imagine, and that you really can get through anything. And I think that one of the biggest things I've learned, and I've just continued to learn, is usually while I'm actually going through something, I don't understand why. It feels unfair. In hindsight, I almost always know why. And so I just really try to trust the process, and like, whatever higher power there is, or whatever you believe in, is looking out for you, and it will be revealed in the end. Like, all of it felt unfathomable, and here I am, and I'm happier than I can ever remember being.
It's so good, Rach.
Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, the lighting, you can't tell, but I've been crying multiple times here. But I was like, wow, this lighting's real good. But it's like, it's such a beautiful, we all have challenging journeys. This one, I feel like, is like, for better or for worse, a lot of people can relate to it, whether they've experienced it personally.
Unfortunately, yeah. Everyone knows somebody that's had cancer.
Yeah. Both of my parents have. Yep. I had a very dear relationship where I lived in New Zealand for 2 years, and my partner passed away from that. Like I said in the beginning, having these conversations just allows us all as a collective to understand that there's multiple ways to have this experience.
And that's also why I was public about it on the internet. I kind of, I do share most of the good. Like I always say, everyone's like, you're so happy. And I'm like, I am, but it's actually a lot of work. Like, I'm not just out having fun. I'm also going to therapy. I'm doing breath work. I'm doing meditation. I work out. I do a lot of things that are really difficult and not always fun, to protect my health and my mental health more than anything. And sure, I love to go out and have a good time, but I don't always, it's always the struggle of like, what to share, what not to share. Like, I like to keep it light. I love my dark sense of humor. I post cancer memes on the internet, and the only ones that like it are other people that had cancer. And I feel everyone else is so uncomfortable and doesn't know what to say, but I have a really dark sense of humor. Like, It's fucked up.
I don't think I've seen one of those.
Oh, I post them all the time and it's like crickets. Except anyone that had cancer is like, and I love that. I'm like, yep, that's up. Those are my people.
That's really funny. I haven't seen one of them, and maybe it finds the people it's meant for. I
Maybe.
feel like
Yeah,
that's how the
hopefully.
internet works right now.
Yeah, that's true. The internet, it's such a weird place. But I also do feel like it's spread awareness and like I like to share the good with the bad. Yes, I'm happy. Yes, it's incredibly difficult. I am excited about my new life. I'm also still mourning my old life.
Mhm.
I have love for everybody that's been in my life and for everybody that's going to come into my life. Like it's multifaceted.
Yeah, it's two things at once.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just really glad that we finally did this.
I know we've been trying to do it for over a year.
Yeah, and I think this is perfect timing, you know, like everything. And
Hmm.
yeah, I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm so stoked that we're friends. And
Oh,
I'm just, it makes my heart feel full that you are just exploring yourself in the way that you are now.
me too. I feel really lucky.
Yeah.
I feel really lucky to have the opportunity to still be here. And that's the other thing with birthdays. Like I just turned 43 and normally I'd be like, ugh, I'm getting older. And now I'm grateful. I'm grateful every year that I get to be here. It's a gratitude. Like, it's worse than having a birthday, not having a birthday,
Yeah.
So I do a lot of reframing. It's
Mm,
real easy to get negative about everything, but you can turn a lot of stuff around. And I am. Every year that I'm here is a gift.
absolutely. Oh, I love it. There's so many gold nuggets in here, and I really appreciate you sharing. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
like everyone who listens to this, they're gonna be like, wow, she's authentic as fuck. And that's true. You are authentic and as fuck. And that's
Fucking
amazing.
try. It's messy. I was not, I have my parts in a lot of things that happened and I was not perfect and like, but I'm working on myself. I'm embracing the messiness. That's
Yeah.
another thing I really try to do. Like I'm messy. I feel like I'm a toddler learning to walk. This is a whole new life for me and I'm going to make mistakes. I'm really comfortable with that. I can apologize when I need to apologize. I can stand up for myself when I need to. I do not apologize for stuff I'm not sorry for anymore. That's been a really big one for me. That's really hard still.
Mm,
Um, but I'm learning. We're all here learning. We're all humans trying to learn. And that is a lifelong goal. That's a lifelong thing that happens for us. That doesn't ever stop. When you stop learning, you die.
yeah. And in this way, we get to learn from each other.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the whole point. And I was
absolutely.
actually sharing this with my brother yesterday. We were talking about how, when you get a new iPhone or a new MacBook, there's like instruction.
Learning curve.
Well, yeah, but there's also instructions.
Yeah, there's no instructions for what's going on here.
There's no instructions for humaning.
Hmm.
So,
Just trust your gut.
yeah. And so we are all just kind of rolling up on all of these different scenarios, learning as we go. And I think the more that we're able to share and learn from each other, the more we can then trust our gut and go, does this feel good for me? Do I want this? Do I like this? Is this right for me? And go through that process. But man, sometimes you got to go through the dark night of the soul to get on the other
You
side.
do. You definitely do.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you so much. This was
Thank you.
awesome.
I hope it came across the way it was supposed to.
Well, it wasn't supposed to come across as anything outside of exactly what it is. It's your journey, your
Okay.
story.
Good call.
Yeah,
It's my experience.
exactly. And
Thanks,
only
Shannon.
only you can tell this story.
Yeah,
Nobody,
exactly.
yeah, nobody else can. I'm just grateful that we got to have the conversation because there's a lot of beautiful insights that you got and now we get to share it with other people and they get to either take it if it resonates for them or leave it if it doesn't. And that's the whole point.
Yeah, that's everything in life.
Exactly.
Take what you want and leave the rest.
Exactly. That's right. The motto of this show that might actually be our closing. Take what you want and leave the rest. All right, you
Thank
guys.
you for having me.
Yes, thank you, Rach. So thank you everyone for joining. We can't wait to hear your thoughts, and we will see you next time.
Ah.